We'll call to order the meeting of the Haverford Township Zoning Hearing Board of Thursday, October 17, 2019. Present at the front table to my far right is Ken Richardson, a voting member.
Good evening.
My immediate right, Bill Rhodes, a voting member.
Good evening.
My far left, Margie, I don't remember your last name. From the Codes Office, Kelly Kirk, Director of Community Development. Is that right? Okay. From Haverford Township. Seated next to Kelly is Jessica Vitale, a voting member.
Evening.
Next to Jessica is Ed McGargy, a voting member.
Hello.
My immediate left, Bill Malone, our esteemed under-the-weather solicitor. And my name's Robert Kane. I'm a voting member as well. We have one decision, 3 continued cases, and 1 new case this evening. And before we begin, Kenny, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Please rise. Oh, maybe I can see that. Repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Our decision is in case Z19-26, Mr. Bao Han and Nanjing Wei, owners of 622 Walnut Lane, Havertown, PA, DC folio number 2205-0108300, who seek a variance from the provisions of section 182-206C6A to demolish an existing carport and build a garage, encroaching into the required side yard setback by 4 feet. Property is on R4 and located in the 5th Ward. Mr. Rhodes, would you please take that decision?
Sure, I would vote to approve the requested variance, subject to the following conditions: that the applicant remove the existing rear stairs and the shed in the rear yard, that no other accessory structures be included on the property, that the only utility permitted in the garage is electrical service. There'd be no second story added to the garage. There'll be no conversion of the garage to living space, and that the applicant will comply with all applicable stormwater management requirements in the township, and that the project would be completed in accordance with the notes of testimony within 1 year of the date of this decision.
Jessica?
I vote no.
Ed?
I vote no as well.
Kenny?
I agree.
That's
I vote yes.
all right. I also, yes, with those conditions. So that application's approved, 3-2. Our first continued case this evening, Z19-21, Scott and Lindsay Rockers. I won't read the rest of the description into the record. Mr. Malone.
Mr. Kane, the applicant's attorney reached out to me and carbon copied the neighbor's attorney, indicating that they had a joint meeting with the attorneys and the clients and are attempting to work out their differences. They requested a continuance of this matter until November 21, and all time constraints contained within the MPC have been waived.
That case is continued to our November 21 hearing. Our next continued case, Z19-25, Mr. Stephen A. Fantini and Ms. Cynthia L. Fantini, owner of 206 Walnut Place, Havertown, PA, DC folio number 2208-0106700, to seek a variance from the provision of section 182-207C7 to encroach into the required 25-foot rear yard setback by 6 feet to allow construction of a 6-foot by 15-foot addition. The property is on R5 and located in the 8th Ward. Just looking for my notes. Mr. Fantini, right?
Yes,
And you were sworn at the last hearing. Is that correct?
I don't recall.
All right.
I
do.
may
do.
have said
I'll
yes.
swear you again.
Okay.
In an abundance of caution. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address for the record, please?
Stephen Adam Fantini, 206 Walnut Place, Haverford Town, PA 19083.
Okay, so when last we met about this case, you were referencing some drawings that you had attached to your application, but the drawings were never marked as exhibits, moved into the record because they didn't contain certain measurements that
Yes,
the board needed to see. So there's no exhibits that are marked in this case.
can I present some exhibits now?
Yes, yes.
How many did I need, 7 or 8 or 9?
6.
6? Okay.
So we're going to go off the record while I help mark the exhibits. Mr. Kane, while we were off the record, the applicant had 2 exhibits marked. Exhibit A1 is a 3-page document. The first page has some, basically a graph with zoning criteria and some dimension. The second page is a rendering plan, and the third page is another plot plan indicating that the drawing scale is 1/16 of an inch equals 1 foot. The second exhibit, A2, is a 5-page exhibit containing photos, some of which have notations made on them. Mr. Fantini, do you agree with that description of these exhibits?
Yes,
We had requested surveyed plot plan, but we'll see if these measurements and the documentation that you've submitted suffice.
well, I did call 2 companies and nobody got back to me. So I took it upon myself to work with the zoning officer.
But these are
Mrs.
more comprehensive than the last.
Yeah,
ones. That's
she
why
helped
I
me
said-
understand what I needed to show to tell the story of what I'm requesting.
And that's why I said we'll try to proceed without that.
Thank you so much for that consideration.
Kenny? You have questions?
Give me time to digest here for a minute.
Would I be allowed to walk you through it a little bit?
Sure.
All right, the Exhibit 1A with the little graph on the front. It's your zoning criteria table that you had requested at the last meeting. Was part of the surveying information, and I was lucky enough to come across a copy of what they look like for a format, so I could try and give you that information for the lot coverage and the building setbacks, off-street parking, to show that we're complying with the existing codes. And basically, the only thing we're trying to change is the setback rule. And if you look, I highlighted in yellow to make it easy to identify because I'd have a hard time finding it. Basically, it's a 25-foot setback. Our existing setback is 25 feet to my kitchen door where we want to build out the 6 feet. The 15-foot 6-inch number is a setback to the converted garage. From the previous owner, they took the garage and converted that to the living space for their mother when she was old and very ill. So that is the only thing we're trying to do is change the 25-foot number down to 19 feet. The 15-foot 6-inch number will remain unchanged. So we're not going to expand beyond the overall footprint of the building on this chart. If you go to the next page, the rendering, that's just the green is to try and show you how much grass we have. The yellow would show you how much solid surface or concrete we have. The black is just my half of the driveway. you'll see you'll see a little shed in one corner, and you'll see the house in the middle there with the word new. And the new is just to give you an idea of the footprint that we're trying to take and convert into some additional living space on the inside rather than the outside. If we can go to the next page, this is the best I could do to give you a proper plot plan at this time. We show the outside dimensions, 50 foot across the front, 50 foot across the back, 90 foot or 94 foot 6 inches along the driveway, and 97 foot 6 inch on the breezeway between the two houses. So this is based on the deed. And again, you'll see where it says new. And on the back side of the house, I have a 25-foot line. I have a 19-foot line to show the 6-foot requested variance. And again, I'm showing you where the 15-foot 6 inches is. That is unchanged. So hopefully that will help you envision what I'm requesting. Now, at our last meeting, you guys brought up some very good points about water runoff, and it gave me the understanding that you're not giving me the variance, but you're going to give my property the variance. So let's see if we can help my property reach its potential. On the next exhibit, the 1B, we have Google was nice enough to take a picture of my house. And it was a nice fall picture, so it's pretty. If we go to page 2, you're going to see at the top it says 206 Walnut Place. And I inset 2 pictures. The top picture has a little red skeleton line, very thin, and it's showing you the intended layout of what the addition would look like, while you could look at the existing space and visualize that it's actually dead space. Okay, it's unutilized. When you walk out the door, all it is blacktop, and it doesn't do anything for the house. So we thought by pushing out that little 6 foot, it could make that kitchen a little more attractive and help the house on the interior reach its potential. The picture below it is the yard. If you look at the yard, it's rather open. Even though it's a small yard, it's only 17 feet. But it's a small yard just the same, and when you look at it, it's nice and open. The addition's not going to affect it at all. So let us go to the next page, if we will. And one of the members here brought up about water runoff. So I said, well, geez, I can't get you a topography report, but I can show you where the drain is. In that little area of the alcove, there's a downspout. It's an existing downspout that comes down onto the driveway. And all I'm going to do, my intention, was to take it when we do the addition and move it to the other corner so that the water is not going to be changed or altered for drainage in any way, shape, or form. It's going to flow in a natural path down the driveway as it has been for the last 100 years, or since I put the downspout when we did the roof back in '93. The bottom picture shows in highlighted in red the 2 points. One is existing and the other one is where it's going to be relocated. Does anybody have any questions regarding that? Okay. So if we go to the next page, what I wanted to do, another board member had requested some photos of the neighborhood. So again, I went to Google and I put numbers for each of the houses. My address is 206, so I am the second from the left house in the picture. If you look at 208 and 210, those homes are actually, I think, I'm going to guess and say it's 20 feet closer to the road, where my house is set back deeper in the lot. So if we go to the page after that, now where I have variances and additions, rear yard views of the neighborhood, and it's showing improvements some of my neighbors have done. I have a red arrow pointing to, I believe that would be 210 Walnut Place. And there they put, I believe it's a 20 by 20, 3-story addition in the back of their house, and they even bumped out further for an enclosed screened-in porch. They pushed their house out as far as they possibly could. And in that, they have a basement, they have a kitchen, fully expanded kitchen, and above that, I believe that's a master suite bedroom. Next to them is 208 Walnut Place in the same picture, and there is a porch over top of an existing garage. That's an original structure. Now, they are still set in front of my house. Like this, I was looking out my bathroom window. So this is what the view is when I look out my bathroom window, to give you an idea how far back my house is set compared to those two homes. Now, if you go to the picture down below, you're looking at 204 Walnut Place. They share the driveway with us. And I don't know the year, but it was Dick and Fralka. They turned around and they pushed out for a full 1.5 car garage. They're within 5 feet of the property line, and they got a variance. And above that garage, they put a full bedroom suite there. And the picture next to that in the corner in the bottom right is a courtyard as I look out one of my bedroom windows to give you an idea how close the house is when you look out your window to the hedges. We're not trying to go back that far. So you can see I still have an attractive yard after I do this little addition. It's a very modest addition. For 60 square feet, it's, or 70 square feet, it's one of those things that I think modest is an appropriate word for it. And that would finalize my presentation. I hope that helps explain some of the pictures.
Ken, you ready to ask questions? Are you ready to ask questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Richards?
Thanks for all the good information here. As part of this procedure, your neighbors are notified that you've applied for a variance and a permit and that kind of thing. So, other than them being notified by the township, have you had the opportunity, or has anybody spoken to you about?
Yeah, I
what you
talked
wish to do
to
here?
two of my neighbors. Yeah, two. I talked to Doug across the street, Doug and Catherine. I don't know their last name. I don't remember. I'm sorry about that. And, you know, he expressed support. I figured if anybody was upset, they would show up, the obvious. And I also talked with my neighbors that I share the drive with. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous, so I forget names when I get nervous. But he was offering to come here,
What house?
204. We share the drive. And he offered to come here at the last meeting, and I said I didn't think it was necessary. And I didn't think it was necessary to go around knocking on doors, asking people to sign a piece of paper to approve of it. We left the sign out. It's still out in front of the house. If you guys want to drive by and take a look at it, it's still there. We're trying to fit in the neighborhood, not be difficult about it.
Yeah, and the neighbors have been notified, so if anybody's here, we'll hear from them. Thank you for,
I hope if anybody wanted to say something, you'd have heard it by now.
all right, thanks for your input.
Bill?
Thanks. I do appreciate the additional information also. It looks, one of the, on the page, I don't know, what's this exhibit number?
That's Exhibit A2.
A2. So on A2, which is the photos taken from, look, here's your second story of your neighbors. I think you had said that 208 is positioned forward of your property. in the-
208 and 210, both of those.
And so when we look at the prior page, where it's the front yards,
Correct.
208 and 210 are well in front of you. And you, on the first page, A1, you show your front yard setback as required 30, existing 30. Are you, in fact, well behind
Oh,
that
yeah,
30?
way behind that 30. I don't know what the numbers mean, to be honest with you. I know that on the front, we're not building out.
Yeah.
So it's not changed.
Right,
We're not encroaching on the 30.
right.
Was that number supposed to be 50 or 60 or something like that? Is that what you wanted it
It's
to
not
say?
supposed, it's supposed to be what it is. Yeah, I was just.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Looking
It's
at this.
my first
I-
time.
Looking at this now, not every setback that we have is done in a way that every house conforms. Often there's some existing nonconformities. And if yours was 30, then these others in theory would be nonconforming because they're closer. But I see this parking lot you have in your front yard, and your house is further back, so I'm assuming it's more than 30. And,
Yeah, it's probably 50.
okay,
Because if they're 20 foot, let's say they're 20 foot closer, they would be at the 30, where mine was at 25 at the back.
you
But
got
then
what
the
I was going-
garage bumped out.
right, you got what I was going.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to go ahead and,
Right.
you know, it's my first time doing this. Maybe I'll get a C for this instead of an A. I'm trying, you
doing
know.
well.
We can call that one a typographical error.
Right. So I just want to make sure I understand. So I guess I'm looking at your, the page that shows a outline of the depiction of the addition that you plan to do.
Yes,
The door on the left, which would still be exposed, was that the entry of the original garage?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
And that was converted by the previous owner.
Got it.
I had no
Okay.
hand in that.
Okay, got it. Is the driveway on the front of in your front yard, did you put that in, or was?
Yes, we added it probably around 2000, something like that.
And from a township point of view, is front yard parking lots, are there, do we need to worry about that as,
Well, that's the only way I can conform to the two-car.
yeah,
Generally, the maximum width of a driveway in the front yard setback is 25 feet. So this does likely exceed it, maybe a little bit. I'm not sure how big the driveway area is. But if so, if it's, I'm not sure if it's 17 wide.
It's 17 wide.
17 wide.
But that's what the permit was, 17
Right.
wide.
And, yeah, I
And
know,
then we
I
have,
remember
then we
when-
have either 4 or 5 foot wide for the driveway. So if you go 17 and 5 is 22, we're not,
There you go. So
we're
now
not
you're-
past
so you're not
25.
exceeding.
okay,
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to do the math with you.
Thank you.
okay. And so you were just going to my next question, that on the shared driveway, which is really only one car wide, you know, you only have essentially 4 to 5 feet width of driveway on your own property line, right?
Yes, that's a shared driveway.
All right. And then, so in the depiction, the window box that's existing, that would obviously be covered over, that wall in theory would be removed, right? And the door removed?
Yeah, to open the space
Are
up.
you planning to put a door on the outside of this, right where, like essentially right in front of the existing door, but on the new outer wall?
Just short of the existing, and that door's gonna get changed so it swings the other way. That door's gonna get, the door on the left, it's gonna, the swing's gonna be reversed.
I got it.
So you step into the yard, so you're not stepping into a wall. It's gonna make some sense.
Okay, but.
Yeah, the layout.
Understood.
And then that kitchen door's gonna come forward 6 feet. So you can get out of the building, because you're gonna have an exit there.
So I'm in Exhibit A2, page 2, which is where this depiction is.
Yes,
I got the door to the left of the red outline, you'll switch the direction.
yeah,
of
it's
that
gonna
door.
switch the
The
direction.
other door will be removed in theory.
No, it's gonna come forward.
Oh, it's just gonna come forward.
It's gonna
Okay,
come
that's
forward,
what-
so you can
that's what
step out into the yard.
Can you just wait until he's done asking?
I'm sorry.
Only
That's
one
my
question.
nerves.
Speak at a time. And don't assume that you know what he's gonna ask. Let
All right,
anybody finish, and we'll do the same with you.
sorry.
Sorry.
And so I just wanted, so the window box, which currently protrudes beyond the outside wall, are you gonna move that forward too?
Replace it. Standard window.
Standard window, okay. And then will there be any excavation? Are you putting a basement under this? Is there a basement under the existing house right next to it?
Yeah, but we're not doing a basement here.
Okay. And then where would you plan to be putting your garbage cans? Are you just going to block
Another
the
location
walkway?
in the yard.
So are you planning any impervious, like are you going to put a concrete pad down? for-
No, I have side yard that's not in this photo. If you go to the bottom photo there and go down past the shed around to the right, I have a spot there I can put my trash cans.
Okay. And so on page 3 of A2, the lower right corner photo, with the red arrow, that's where you're going to relocate the existing downspout over to,
Yeah, I was thinking of doing that because then we wouldn't have to walk across the ice. when it rains in November and February and all that. It's still beyond the driveway, so it's not changing the water flow. It's just relocating it closer to its natural flow point down the driveway.
So I don't have any other questions now. Wait and see if any neighbors.
And I always go last. So, Jessica?
I just have a couple questions about your impervious coverage calculations.
Okay,
So for your existing building coverage, it's at 970, and you're bringing it up to 1,035, which seems about right based on the addition you're putting on. But when we get to the impervious coverage, it's only going up by about 400 feet from the square footage of the house. Whereas with your two-car parking and assuming your driveway's 80 feet before it angles, that's already an additional 660 square feet.
but I only own half the driveway.
Well, I'm doing half, so like, let's say 80 feet times 4. So it just seems like,
But I don't have 8 feet. I have 4 feet.
I said 80. So see how
Oh,
it goes
80
94
times 4?
feet back, so I'm cutting off a little for the angle.
Mr. Fantini.
I'm sorry.
You're not doing anything wrong.
No, I'm trying in my head to get the numbers. Okay.
So it just,
Jessica, hold on. But the difficulty here that I wanted to explain is the reporter can only take down one person at a time. So, again, nobody's yelling at you, but just please let the question end before you start answering, okay?
Yes, sorry.
okay, so assuming your 17 feet by 19-foot parking spot, and then a 4-foot by 80-foot driveway, that would be your portion. That's already about 660 square feet in addition to your house. And then there's a shed and a bunch of miscellaneous walkways, so it just looks like you have, in actuality, a lot more impervious coverage than what's listed.
Well, the house isn't supposed to be listed in the impervious coverage, is it? I thought the house is the house and impervious coverage is your driveway and walkways and your shed, right? The house is the house. House is covered in building coverage. Correct? It's a question.
No, I believe the house is included in impervious. Kelly, could you confirm?
Excuse me. Generally, anything that's included in building coverage would also be included as impervious. The difference being with impervious, you're not including anything that doesn't have a structure on it. But with building coverage, generally, anything that's a structure would also be impervious, with the exception of decks that don't have roofs or patios underneath.
Okay.
So I think the impervious that you're showing is incorrect, and what you have is probably a lot higher. So it's just hard for me to evaluate if you're already, how non-compliant you are with your required coverage.
Well, I'm not adding any impervious, and I'm not taking away any impervious. So the number is already approved when I put the concrete pad in the front at a previous permit. So I'm still compliant based on a previous experience with the township. I could get a ruler or a calculator and we could just do the math here. I mean, 2,800 divided by 4,800. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. The stuff's already approved. So all I'm doing is taking 60 square feet of driveway and making it building. So,
So you don't propose to increase the impervious at all?
no.
saying?
I'm getting rid of driveway and putting in an interior space. So if anything, I'm trying to enhance the interior of the property by taking away dead impervious space outside the property.
That none of that's relevant to impervious coverage calculation, but
I
I don't want to
understand.
interrupt.
Okay, no, that's all I have.
Ed.
No question.
It's your kitchen that you want to expand, right?
Yeah,
And tell us about your existing kitchen. Is it small?
it's 8 by 20. And right now, the table's stuck in an 8-foot by 5-foot hole. So you have to get in the table, you have to crawl down the side walls of the house, of either side. So it's a very narrow spot. And with it being so narrow, we thought, hey, why don't we make it a little bit bigger rather than move? Or buy a smaller table.
Any other questions, Kenny?
No.
Bill?
No.
Yes?
No.
Ed?
No.
Anything you'd like to add?
Yes, in closing, if you guys all vote no, then you're telling me to get a smaller table. And I want you to know the table's much cheaper than the addition. My wife says, don't do me any favors and save me money. So if you guys could help me out, I'd appreciate it.
With that, I'll ask if there's anyone present that received certified mail that wishes to testify? Anyone present that received regular mail? Any other residents of Haverford Township? With that, we'll close the record on this case, and a decision will be rendered at our next regularly scheduled meeting on, and I stretch, November 7th.
Thank you.
2018.
Have a great day, gentlemen and ladies.
This is the continuation. All right, our next continued case is case Z19-27, Jason and Anna Bona, owners of 219 East Park Road, Havertown, PA, DC folio number 2202-008940, who seek a variance from the provisions of section 182-206C5B to permit a 5-foot-high black aluminum picket fence in the primary front yard of Landaff Road. Property is zoned R4 and located in the second ward. Well,
Hello.
welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. So we have Anna and Jason. And you were both sworn at the last hearing, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Why don't we take a 2-minute recess? All right, we're going to go off the record. Really chop it. Bill, have you had an opportunity to read the transcript?
Yes, with respect to Z1927, I have had a chance to read the transcript. I had a question or two I'd like to ask the applicant if they're sworn.
Yes.
Okay. So the transcript, it's a little confusing on your, where the fence is relative to front yard and side yard, but I think I understand it now.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you a question. Have you considered a invisible fence for your dog?
We don't think that would work for her, just given the kind of dog she is. Like, she wants what she wants, and that's what she does. So we really think that she needs that, like, physical fence to stop her.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of dogs in our neighborhood, so I don't necessarily like. I know there's a couple people in our neighborhood that have invisible fences, and the dog is still able to, come up to the edge of the yard. And I mean, we specifically walk our dog on the other side because
Yeah.
she's not gonna. It's not her invisible fence. So I
Right.
think just having that barrier would everyone would feel a little bit.
Yeah, I
comfortable.
understand. I mean, people who put invisible fences literally on their property line aren't really doing the right thing. I mean, they
Right.
should be set back inside their property line to give the dog a
Correct.
spot to go no further than. But you haven't tried an electric fence?
No, so
No.
it's definitely, I mean, based on your decision, it would be an option. Because we would still be able to fence in the back piece of the yard, which is not the largest piece of the yard, but she would still have that area. And then we could, try the invisible fence.
And what kind of dog is it?
We think she's a Vizsla mix.
Okay.
We adopt her so she could be anything, but she's like some sort of hound working like a sporting dog
Yeah.
situation.
Not short hair, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, I don't have any other questions.
Kenny, do you have any other questions?
No,
Do you have any other questions?
No other question.
Jess?
No other questions.
Okay. And just so you guys understand, when you're requesting a variance, there needs to be a hardship. That's the standard. So it's a need, and it's got to be the minimum relief necessary. So, like if an invisible fence could work, that may mean that a barrier fence, a physical fence, although I understand what you're saying when you describe it, isn't the minimum relief necessary. But is there anything else you'd like to add before we close the record? And I think I told you we would go right to it, so we will, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I mean, yeah, like I said, with regards to the invisible fence, I personally don't like them. I grew up with a
Yeah.
dog that just didn't care about them. The other thing that people don't realize is an invisible fence is not just something that will automatically work. It is something you need to train the dog on, and we've done a lot of work because she is a rescue of training the dog. She is very difficult to train. I mean, I'm very proud of the state we've gotten her in of being trained. So this is just an invisible fence would be another thing that, again, like you said, a potential failure. We decided, I mean, we thought about it when we were originally looking to, utilize the space with her. We've been in the house for a couple of years now, and we just, I mean, I say you know your dog better than anyone, but it was something we considered and kind of ruled out automatically of this isn't really worth the time or the effort to try to do.
And I think it just doesn't make us as comfortable. Like, I don't know. I think we don't feel as comfortable with that sort of option with that will actually contain her in the yard
Yeah.
than an actual physical fence.
Yeah, and also with the type of dog she is, the other thing I would add is there is an exorbitant amount of squirrels in our neighborhood, and I think she would be through the barrier before she would even realize it chasing a squirrel. So, I mean, it's not like it seems like a common thing, but we're also we're one plot away from Westchester Pike. So, I mean, if she gets beyond the barrier, I mean, Westchester Pike and Township Line, we're right on the corner there. So, I mean, if she gets beyond an invisible fence, once she's past the invisible fence, it's no longer working. It's not like she's constantly being buzzed to come back. She could end up out on the road and get hit by a car. So, I mean, for our comfort and our safety, we just don't think it's a viable option where we are.
Right. And let me just add that it may not be an either-or decision, right? I mean, you could put a by right fence in that fences your rear yard the way you want to.
Correct.
And you could put an invisible fence in that portion of your front yard that you would like to slowly train her to accept.
Correct. Yeah, and like I said, in even in terms of the training, if we could have a space where it is enclosed and use that to train her while we're, like you said, while we're going through that, I think that would be, a little bit better.
And that would not require a variance, right? Is that what?
Right, I mean, that's the
Because
point,
it's
yeah,
by right.
yeah.
Anything else you guys would like to add before I close the record?
I just want to clarify, when you said fence, did you mean fence the front yard or fence the
Saying
backyard?
you need the variance to fence the portion of your front yard, right?
The primary front yard.
Correct.
Your primary front yard.
Yeah.
Right, I got it. There are portions of your property, which Kelly can help you with, that you are allowed to fence.
Correct.
Right.
Right, and you have some fence already, right? All the way in the back, or you'd be connecting some buildings or whatever.
Yes,
So there are some portions of your property that you can fence without a variance.
correct.
Right, and maybe you could do that and do some electric fence and put the flags up and train the dog over time while you have some enclosed property for safety, and see how it goes. And, you could always come back if it's you know, if it's not working or whatever on the without a variance, seek it again, it's, right, so.
No other questions? Nothing else you'd like to add? With that, I'll ask if there's anyone present that receives certified mail that wishes to testify? Anyone present that receives regular mail? Any other residents of Haverford Township? I'm going to poll the board just to ask if they're prepared to vote or would prefer to wait till the end of the meeting. Kenny, are you prepared to vote?
Yes.
Bill?
Sure.
Jessica?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Ed, would you like to take the decision?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I vote to deny the requested variance.
Jessica?
I also vote to deny the variance.
Bill?
I agree.
Kenny?
I concur.
And so do I. Give it a chance, and you can apply again if it doesn't work out. And we'll see how it goes, but don't leave discouraged.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Okay. Our only new case this evening is case Z19-28, Alan and Nicole Goodson, owners of 209 Golfview Road, Ardmore, PA, DC folio number 2203-0104200, to seek a variance from the provisions of section 182-204C6A to reduce the 30-foot minimum side yard aggregate setback by 9 feet to allow construction of a 12-foot 5-inch by 24-foot 8-inch enclosed porch. Property is zoned R2 and located in the 3rd ward. Mr. and Mrs. Goodson, good evening. Welcome. Either one, Ed. Ladies first. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address for the record, please?
Nicole Goodson, 209 Gulfview Road, Ardmore, PA, 19003.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And your full name and address for the record, please?
It's Alan Goodson, 209 Gulfview Road, Ardmore, Pennsylvania, 19003.
And you may have heard during previous cases, people referring to exhibits. So if there's anything you'd like the board to consider in the process of your application, regardless of whether or not it's attached to the application itself, it needs, whatever exhibit you might want to consider needs to be specifically individually marked and then identified for the record. So I noticed that there are, some proposed drawings, site plans, and things attached to your application. Do you plan to refer to any of them during your presentation?
Yes, I think it would be helpful to explain the nature of the
And do you have copies of
development.
those with you?
Yes, we have a copy of the pack that hopefully the board have received.
Okay. How about if we go off the record and ask our solicitor to come help you mark the exhibits? And
That'd be
that'll
helpful.
smooth the
Thank you.
process for you.
Yeah.
So we'll go off the record.
We're back on the record. And while we were off, we marked 6 separate exhibits. I'm just going to refer to each of them for identification in the record, and then when I'm done, just confirm that I properly identified these for you, okay?
Will do.
A1 is a November 1930 brochure for Marion Gulf Manor that would encompass your present residence, correct?
Correct.
A2 seems to be another picture, whether it's from that brochure or not, but it's definitely an older picture depicting the side porch that's in question here, correct?
Yes, it's from the same brochure. That's an extract.
A3 is a photograph presently of your existing side porch.
Correct.
Well, really, it shows the whole house, whole front of the house.
Yes.
Including the side porch. A4 is a plot plan with some dimensional markings on the right-hand side, correct?
Correct.
A5 is another plot plan, or proposed site plan, that's what they're called, but does not have as much information on the right-hand side, correct?
Correct.
And A6 is a note from your neighbor at 205 Golf View, specifically Joe and Tony, that's Toni, Volk, Volk, indicating that they have no problem with your variance request. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can I see 6? Okay. Now that we've got all the administrative process out of the way, please tell us a little bit about what you would like to do.
So we'd like to enclose what is an existing structure. It's a side porch attached to the west side of the property, which is currently falling into disrepair and requires a new footing. So rather than just repair the side porch, which we don't currently use, it's generally unsafe. We're seeking to enclose it fully into a four-season sun porch, so we actually have more use of that space year-round. The exhibits that we've provided the committee, perhaps if it's easy, I can just take the committee through them in turn to explain why we've presented to them and their relevance.
Certainly.
The first exhibit, Exhibit A1, is an extract from the original developer's brochure for the property dated 1930. And Exhibit A2 is a photograph of 209 Gulf View that's contained within that same exhibit. And you can see the side porch within that picture of the property going back to 1930. So that's there really just to show how long the physical structure has been there. And an important factor here is we're not seeking to change the existing footprint. We're actually utilising as much of the existing structure as possible for the enclosed side porch. Exhibit A3 is just to provide the committee with a visual of the house as it is today, just so you can see how consistent that is with the original brochure. So again, we're not seeking to change the property's overall visual or footprint in any way. Exhibits A4 and A5 are site plans that were prepared by the architectural firm that we have been using for the project. And that's just to provide the committee with more information on the site as it currently is overall. You can see that on the east side of the property, the setback of the driveway is currently just over 11 foot from the neighbouring property. And on the west side of the property, the side where the side porch is currently constructed, we are 10 feet from the neighbouring property, which results in an aggregate of 21 foot, hence the need to seek a 9-foot variance to the required 30-foot setback. The letter that we have attached was received from the closest neighbour to the property 205, which is to the west of the property, and they're just highlighting they have no objections. We have also spoken to the neighbour to the east of the property at 219 Gulf Road, who again has verbally told us that they had no objections to the construction. We haven't heard any feedback from any other neighbours who've received any correspondence to date.
So just so we're clear, do you plan to demolish the existing porch and construct a new one?
We'll be retaining the existing roof, but it requires a new concrete pad to raise the level of the pad to code, and the enclosure will be wrapped under the existing roof structure.
And the size overall, same?
No change in
Same
the
footprint?
current same footprint, yes.
And it's because of the disrepair that you need to do this?
We had to either fix the structure as it was and replace the footing, or seek to do something with it to make it a more usable space. So, hence the.
Jessica?
What material are you going to be enclosing the porch with?
I believe it's primarily PVC. there was a technical name for some of the exterior, which I forget for now, but it was a very weather-resistant form of PVC, I think.
Are there going to be many windows? Is it mostly siding?
It's, yes, there will be a fair amount of windows. The plans, which we have with us, which we have previously submitted to the township, show that. But there'll be a full window on the north side, a doorway and window on the south side, and 2 windows on the west side of the structure.
And what, are you putting any utilities in that room besides electrical?
Just electrical.
Okay.
And, air conditioning and heating unit.
Okay. No further questions.
Ed?
It says sunroom, and that's what Jessica's question regarding the amount of windows. So I'm trying to get what makes it a sunroom?
I guess it's just more windows than there is siding. So
Just
it's
trying to
very,
get a feel for it. It's going to be, I look at sunrooms mainly made out of all windows. That's what I mean, how much percentage of this structure is going to be walls, solid walls?
I'd be guessing based on the plans, but probably 60% or so would be windows versus walls.
Okay, that's all I need. Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, I just wanted to, in the picture on A2, it looks like there was a striped awning on the driveway side of the house. And behind it, I'm presuming it was just all open porch except for pillars, right? And then I just wanted to ask, so in A3, it looks like maybe at some point, is that just open space? It looks like it's almost got louvered slats.
Yes, we have a pool in the backyard, and without putting a cover over the front of the porch, we would have had full access from the front of the house through to the pool. So we put in some slats to cover the open area in that porch, which is otherwise hidden by as you can see, the foliage.
Understood.
It's a wooden trellis.
It's a wooden trellis.
Okay, and so over on the right edge of that, it looks like that the original, it's essentially a white frame over the original opening, and then the second, the rightmost white vertical is the corner of the
Yes,
of
it
the
is.
building, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, and so you're going to, it sounds like you're going to largely have windows, but in between the windows, that's where you said you'll be using some kind of resin as the siding of the house between windows, as opposed to stone or anything like?
Yes, it'll be a vinyl, some sort of vinyl or PVC type material. There'll be no additional stonework.
Mullion is what it would be called.
What was that?
A mullion. So just a very narrow
And
piece
then,
between the 2 sets of windows.
so just getting my compass bearings right, the neighbor who has written a letter of support is actually the neighbor on the side of your house with this porch?
Correct.
Okay. And that I'm looking at A5, I see you have on the east side of your house, 10-foot 9-inch setback.
That sounds right, yep.
It's small, but it's hard to tell whether it's 11 feet 11 inches or down below it where it says 10 feet 9 inches.
I think the property tapers slightly, so the distance
I got it.
on the property line
Okay, so the
narrows.
shortest one for us to think about is it's 10 feet 9 perhaps.
Yes,
At the front edge of the house.
yes.
And for you, and then it's about 10, 9, I can't see it because there's so much,
Yeah, I think it's 10'3", maybe?
10-foot 3,
I
okay.
think that's what we
And
thought so.
that we believe is the shortest gap between the existing patio. So
Yes,
combined, we end up, that's how we get to 21 feet 0 inches.
right.
Right, okay. I have no other questions, thank you.
So, just so I'm clear, the repaired porch, would it be any larger than the current porch?
Not at all, no.
So
We were
you're-
using the same footprint.
Essentially repairing or replacing the existing structure.
essentially, yes.
To the extent it encroaches, it's presently non-conforming because it presently exists and it
Believe so.
encroaches.
Yes, we understand that it's never been to code, I think, or to the township code. When this property was constructed, there was no neighbouring property. So I'm not sure whether it relates to that or not. But
Kenny?
Yeah, you're going to keep the existing roof? And that's a flat roof?
no, it's an angled roof.
pitched roof.
A pitched roof,
And it's shingle?
yes.
That's all I have.
Anything else, Jessica? Ed?
No.
Bill? No. Kenny?
No.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No,
I
Chairman.
don't think so.
Okay. And with that, I'll ask if there's anyone present that received certified mail that wishes to testify? Anyone present that received regular mail? Any other residents of Haverford Township? With that, we'll close the record on this case. And in the event we're able to reach a decision this evening, we would do a decision this evening. In the event, in case we're not, then we would do a decision at our next regularly scheduled meeting on November 7th. It's still November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Jessica, are you prepared to vote on the case we just heard, Z19-28?
Yes, I am.
Ed, are you prepared to vote?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Kenny, are you prepared to vote?
Yes.
Bill, are you prepared to vote?
I am.
And so am I. Bill, would you please take the decision? However, because I just closed the record, I think I need to, I won't read the entire description, but I need to refer to the case. So with regard to case Z19-28, Alan and Nicole Goodson, owners of 209 Golfview Road. Bill, would you please take that decision?
Yes, I would vote to approve the requested variance from the provisions of 182-204.C6A, subject to the condition that the only utilities installed would be heating, cooling, and electricity, and that the construction be completed in accordance with the notes of testimony, and within 1 year of tonight's decision.
Jessica?
I agree.
Ed?
I concur.
Kenny?
I agree.
And so do I. That application is approved with those conditions, 5-0. Good luck. Thank you. Any other administrative matters? Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned.